Welcome back to another stream here of Race Department, of course, season number 13, round number 10. We're at the halfway point of the season now, and we head to Spa-Francorchamps, one of the favourite circuits on the calendar, the longest in length, just over 7 kilometres long. It is an absolutely brilliant circuit and a lovely place where these guys can drive. We haven't got too many turning up here today. Attendance is probably at its lowest. Unfortunately, that is the case, but that does not mean we won't have any good racing. Just quickly, I'm going to get the standings up. Just have to navigate myself through the forum so I can get to it. Wait. Sorry, I haven't had to use the forum in a couple of weeks actually, because I've just been given the standings. But you know, you just have to get with you. I think this is it. As of Hungary, yeah, okay, this is it. So I'm just going to screenshot it so it's easier for me to read it all. And oh, look at that wet qualifying. That looks quite heavy actually. We might see the wet tyres coming out for some of these guys. Let's just have, yeah, the wet tyres pretty much nice and soggy. So yeah, I just got to get the screenshot and then it'll all be good. Just bear with me whilst I just not be stupid, okay? This does happen, you know. You just have to deal with it, okay? Because I'm not the most clever in the world. Okay. I wish that they put the points on the other side, but we're just gonna have to make do. So currently at the top of the standings we have, of course, the Renault car who was on the top last week, Davidos. He had a really good race, he got 4th in the end, so that was great to see from him, and he is actually the furthest driver up on the circuit. Then of course CLG Demon, he didn't have a good result last week in Hungary, but he managed to pick up 1 point, so at least that was damage limitation. He now sits 13 points back from Demon on 127. Hang on. I'm messing up with my phone. Sorry, it's 114. Davidos on 127. Alex is in 3rd. At the moment, he had a really good result. We got 3rd position, so another podium for him. That makes it his 4th of the season. He's on 108 points. And then Big C also didn't have a good race. He ended up in 8th in the end, and he actually lost a position and now sits 20 points behind his closest rival of Alex. On 88 points, and then Shelley's right behind him in the standings on 86, so really close between those two guys in 4th and 5th, kind of the rear gunners for Davidos and Demon in the constructors fight, which is getting even closer every single race. Shelley had a better result than Connor last week, but it was Davidos that eventually did put the Renault team over and extended their championship lead at the top. We'll move past that. Clark is in 6th and Will is in 7th. Ollie D picked up his first win of the season. He jumped up 2 places in the standings. Now is level with Will at the moment. Of course, 1 win to their names each, so those two are going to have a nice scrap throughout the championship. Of course, Will did also have a really good race. He ended up in 2nd position. Formula Jake didn't start the last race, and I don't believe he is here today. And we will quickly just finish up. Jared in 10th, Raymond in 11th, 12th for the Aminator, Dan the Snake in 13th, 14th for Hasnain, Sander Bruges in 15th, 16th for Kian, Superscrub in 17th, Berry in 18th, 19th for H Racing, Boseman then sits in 20th, Calm Fiver in 21, SJM 22nd, Bankai Bullet in 23rd, B Colt, then Stevie Temp, and Danny. Is Danny here tonight? Don't think he is, so we'll follow along with Davidos as he's just coming up through Eau Rouge and Raddy on the which would normally be flat in dry conditions, but of course it is not. It is nice and wet, so they're going to have to lift off. Coming up to Lake Com now, you're on a break just before the 50 metre board. Of course the braking zone is going to be a little bit larger, so you're gonna have to brake a bit earlier for that corner. You normally go right at the 50 metre board, and now out through turn number 7 there. Wasn't too nice from him there. He got a big slide of oversteer, probably got on the throttle a little bit too early. Easy corner to lock up on the downhill Ravage, and now up towards turn number 9, also known as No Name, which is quite ironic, and now up towards poo on. This is going to be a really interesting place to see some overtakes. And just a little trivia, last game I took out Artem Markelov at this corner, and Davidos, good save from him there, manages to keep the car in a straight line, and now coming through this short SS section, probably one of the slowest points of the circuit, and he's still going at about 160 kilometers per hour now towards Stabilo corner, the lowest point of the circuit if I'm not mistaken, and it is purple, 25.5. that could be beaten by his teammate who is just right behind him, so we'll follow along with him once he gets onto his once Davidos finishes up. But right now up towards Blanchimont, one of the fastest corners, completely flat out. You can also take it flat out in the wet as well, just a little bit of a lift off and you're alright there. 50-meter board seemingly has been broken off by someone, which is not going to help anyone because they all need the brake marker boards, since it is a no assist league, and Davidos going to cross the line, 56.7. What about Big C, who was his championship rival at the beginning half of the season? He led the championship early on. He goes ahead of his teammate, and Jared is the next one to finish up on a lap. He's going to cross the line, second position. He splits to two Renault cars. I believe we've got Alex coming up next, of course kind of late into the championship hunt, but he is still in there. He's definitely got some traction coming into these races. He's got some good momentum, and now up towards the line. Can he go to provisional pole? He's going to go third fastest, all of them ahead of Davidos, and that was a really close gap between Davidos there and of course Alex. And we've got a McLaren car, I believe, Will, about to cross the line. Raymond also finished the lap. He goes slowest of them all, and up towards the line. There goes Will across into provisional pole position, a whole second quicker than Big C. So he has really got a grip on the wet tyres, and Clarkey cements himself in second position just ahead of Big C. And now who have we got next coming up the line? Well, we've got Ollie D just finishing up on a lap. We're going to go on board with his teammate NSX Berry, because now into the bus stop chicane. It's not really a bus stop anymore. Demon goes fifth fastest, not where he wants to be. Shelley, his teammate, goes into second. What about Berry though, coming up towards the line? What can the Racing Point do? He's going to go unfortunately slowest of them all. So we got Hasnain furthest up on a lap at the moment. The only driver in the pit lane is Carbon Fiber, who's not had a good season at all. He's going to really want to change that coming into this race. A track where only 14 drivers out as well can really be a great track for some people. A lot of people really enjoy this circuit, and that definitely will make up for any mishaps he's had earlier on in the season. We'll just follow along with the tier coordinator. He does a great job at running this league. Of course, Hasnain just coming up towards the line. He's had some pretty decent results, other times not, and he goes into 11th position. Yamanata unfortunately invalidating on this lap, so we might see some guys going for another lap here, because normally in the wets you do fuel up a little bit more and go for a second run, maybe even a third. What's Davidos going to do here? He's going to come into the pit lane. Big C's already come into the pit, so it looks like two Renault cars going to be pretty content and staying out on a lap. Meanwhile, we've got Jared just beginning out on a run, so we'll follow along with him, just coming through the source. Of course, the nice slow, I think it is the slowest part of the circuit actually, of course, the hairpin turn number one, where we've seen some infamous moments. We saw, of course, in 2012 Roman Grosjean go over the top of Fernando Alonso's car, and then we saw Fernando Alonso go over the top of Charles Leclerc's car in 2018. So a lot of action coming along here, and Will has just gone even quicker, now 1.3 seconds ahead of Shelley in second position. Really nice gap that he's got to the rest of the field, and Clarkey's also just gone into second position, so it doesn't seem like he is the furthest up on the lap, Jared, so we might actually see if we can find anyone else. And there's Alex spun around at the top of Eau Rouge, and there's a McLaren car of Will sailing right off the circuit by him. Alex unfortunately does have wing damage, so he's going to have to come into the pit lane. Don't think anyone else further up on the lap. We've got Berry here. He didn't do a good lap, and now into 11th position, starting outside the top 10 in the wet isn't really going to do too much good, because, well, everyone will be on a free choice of tyres, so I'd expect to see everyone go on the mediums pretty much. Meanwhile, we'll follow along with Jared. He's gone 5/10 up almost through the first sector, now up towards the second sector split. Through Stablo he comes. We've got some more drivers coming out on an outlap, and 1.2 seconds quicker. That could be a sign of the rain just getting a little bit lighter, and everyone seemingly just getting faster. As we got Jared now just coming up through Blanchimont. He's had a really good improvement through here. He could, if he just nails the final sector and the final couple of corners, go ahead of Will and take that spot that he has held since the beginning of the race. Of course, Jared got second position in a rain-affected Austria. So he did really well in that regard, and he doesn't go quicker than Will, but he definitely does close the gap just by about 3/10 off. There it is, 0.281 seconds off of Will, so the gaps are pretty much minute around here. Demon's not pushing on our lap, and Boastman has joined, so it's nice to see someone at least coming into the session, even though it might be a little bit late. Just trying to see if we can find anyone else. Yaminator right at the end of his lap, he goes into 5th position. A little bit inconsistent this season, Yaminator. He sort of showed for a couple of races he had really good pace, and then other times not so much. I do believe the Demon is actually just about to start a lap. He's definitely not on a push lap at the moment. He could be here. No, he's not. Okay. Yeah, why would he knock it down into none? I don't think he's on a push lap, so that leaves us with Hasnain just coming through P1. I'm a little bit tired today, I do apologise for that, but I'll read out your comment, whoever it is. Maybe we got someone still watching the stream. Hasnain says, full wet quali, dry race. That is really interesting. So everyone will be running a dry setup. That probably could show for the lack of some guys' speeds, and it could show for the boost in some guys' speeds. But of course, that will only be prevalent once we get to the race. I accidentally went off Hasnain and onto Berry whilst I was just looking at the chat. And I'm just going to send a link to another Discord server just so people can give it a little watch. There we go. Meanwhile, Hasnain coming up towards the line in that Alfa Romeo car. He's going to cross it, and he goes 9th fastest. Definitely a sign of the track drying up a little bit. These times are beginning to come down just a little bit, and Demon, I didn't actually quite catch him, but he went into 3rd position on his lap. I did not see that at all. Let's follow along with Big C, of course, 4th in the championship, doing really well for himself at the moment. He needs to get just that little bit of a boost, and he's actually on the intermediate tyres. Everyone's on the intermediate tyres. If they're on a lap, I had it on best and not intermediate and not fitted. Thank you, Matthias, for saying that I'm doing a great job. I really do appreciate that. And Svander Bruges has joined as well, so we're going to have 16 drivers because Boastman is also joined. I'm going to get out of the cockpit just for a little bit because why not? No, Boastman's unfortunately left, so if he doesn't get back in, we'll only have 14 drivers. And meanwhile, we'll just keep going along with Big C on his lap. A nice smooth drive at the moment. And ooh, a little bit of a slide coming out of the left-hander there, but he has saved the car, kept it straight, 1.5 seconds up on his time. This will put him about 2/10 clear of PR1. Will, of course, on the intermediate tyres. This condition is only going to get better as qualifying goes on. Congrats on your new team mentalism role. Fully deserved, thank you. I'm really excited to be their new manager, assistant manager, sorry. So I haven't got much experience in that job, but I am really, really excited to be working with all the mentalism guys. Great people, and I've known them quite a while, so yeah, it's going to be really great to be working alongside them. First of the intermediate runners across the line at 54.37 clear of Will in that last sector alone, so really nice from Big C. Then we'll see if we can find someone else on a set of intermediates on a lap. And oh, it's all kind of glitched out. Along with Davidos, championship leader, of course. He's got a couple cars just up ahead of him. Ramus unfortunately invalidated on that run. Carbon Fibers not that far up on a lap, so we'll keep on board with Davidos because at this moment in time, oh come on, he invalidated that lap, so we're not going to see him go to the top. He needed 2.5 seconds almost to actually trump his teammate. And old Clarkie's also left the session, so not really what you want to be seeing. We're on board with Carbon Fiber, just watching him come through Poem. We saw Davidos early on in the session almost spin the car. I've lost the car quite a number of times through here before in the wet conditions. You can see the sun just beginning to peek through the clouds, so maybe in 5 minutes it could dry up. And oh, Clarkie's been disqualified, being parked in a dangerous location. I think that might be a bit of a glitch there, so oh dear, that does happen quite often. Not the nicest thing. And everyone seems to be leaving the session. We might have some more issues like we did last week where we had to do a restart, and I got really bored, so I actually just stopped the stream. But meanwhile, Carbon Fiber is actually just going to come to the bits. It's quite boring, son. Please. No, Boastman's back in. I think we got Shelly's further up on our lap. Ooh, Will is actually going to be pretty far. Yeah, we'll follow along with Will because Will is the furthest up on our lap at the moment. There's a Renault car of Big C actually, and he's 9/10 up on this lap. So Really nice to see from him. Going to extend his gap at the top. Here he goes to cross the line. What time's it going to be? 53.1, but Will is 2.3 seconds up on this lap. That'll put him way clear of Big C at the moment. So it really is about who is going to get the lap done last, and they're probably going to have the best shard pole if they can keep the lap together. And we just had some more. That was actually Bozeman loading into the session. So in that Ferrari car, we'll see him getting in. And Will with a big slide coming through the bus stop chicane. He must have locked the tyres there and kind of spun. He locked his rears, I would assume. Didn't affect him that much. 52.3, that puts him into pole position at the moment. We'll keep on board with Shelley now. Also improving quite well on their lap. Of course, 3.6 off. He was improving by about 2.2, so just won't see him go to the top. Might seem challenging for Big C, but only time will tell. Is now coming towards the start to finish straight. Raymond has just gone third fastest. I didn't quite watch him, and there was someone up just coming up ahead of him, and here goes Shelley, second fastest for the Haas driver. I can't. Oh my goodness. Right, I just had to slap myself a couple of times. Davidos has finished up on a lap. He goes third fastest ahead of his teammate. Renault being 2 and 3 would be a really good qualifying from them. CRG Demon has just begun on his lap, so we'll check back with him later. Alex has just crossed the line. He goes into 6th position, so the time is rapidly beginning to come down at this point. Only 2 minutes left in this qualifying session. What about Svander Bruges on a run at the moment? He's not pushing. Might be a bit of a glitch here. Don't know. Berry's on a run, but I think he's actually one of the furthest down on their time on their run. So should we go back on board with Demon? We saw Demon starting out on his lap. He's not pushing here. He's not using any of his ERS. That probably is just to save it, because now coming to the braking zone, yeah, he is pretty much just turning it off for the corners, probably so he can go as slow as he possibly can, just so he doesn't lose the car at all. He'll probably bump it up here. There he goes, now up through the gears and up towards Pillman. He's got a Red Bull car of, I believe that is either Raymond or Carbon Fiber. It's one of the two of them. Missing his apex just a little bit. He ran quite wide through Paul, and he took a wide line through there, so might hamper his time a little bit, might not. It could be the preferred line. We saw Max Verstappen, of course, make an incredible move around the outside of Nico Rosberg in 2016 at Brazil. That was an incredible overtake. 2.2 seconds up on his previous best lap. That will put him about a second down from Will. Yamaneta goes second fastest. So yeah, the times really are beginning to come down. Will is in the pits. That is going to mean that he's not got enough time to come back out and set another lap. So his qualifying's over, and he's going to be racing on a much wetter track than some of the guys ahead of him. As Demon now to cross the line, Shelley goes quickest of all, and that really is an indicator of how dry the track is getting. Demon can only manage third position, but I'd assume he'd be going for another lap, so watch out for him. He might have just been stockpiling his energy or something of the likes. Let's see if we can find anyone right at the end of a run. Here's Alex coming up towards the line for his final run. He goes into 4th place. He might go for one more, but I doubt he would. Berry's going to retire at Eau Rouge, and so is Bozeman. If I can find a Renault car, just see what's happened with Berry. Has he lost it? He's lost it. Berry's binned it pretty much in the wall. There's a Haas car of that is Demon, I think. No, sorry, Shelley. Might have been an issue between those two. Hopefully not. Seems like Demon, Big C's qualifying is going to be over. Jared has just started up on a run. What about Ollie D? Ollie D, we haven't seen too much of him in this qualifying session. He's gone quicker through the first sector, which is to be expected. I think his time was actually set on the wets, so it really is an indicator of his pace. All of the guys pretty much outside the top 10 aren't on a intermediate set of a lap, and there it is. Brilliant improvement from Ollie D through the second sector. The clock has struck 0, so if you're finishing up a lap, you are not allowed to start a new one, and it is either Hasnain or Yamaneta who is going to be the first one to get their final proper run in officially. As we just had to go there so we can go on board with Ollie D. Once he finishes up, there's Yamaneta to cross the line. He doesn't improve by that much. Ollie D with a stonking lap at the moment. Here he is crossing the line. Is he going to go quickest? He goes into 3rd position. So Will's time on a much wetter track has really been quite an improvement. Big C actually managed to start up a lap, but we're going to follow along with Davidos because he is on a run, and might have been Demon actually just crossed the line. He's invalidated, so we are going to go on board with Davidos as Demon finally does cross the line. Championship leader though to come up up towards the start finish line. He only goes into 5th place. What about... Got on board with Jared, because he's the furthest up on a run. I do tell a lie, it is actually Alex. I don't know if he's pushing, he's going to come into pit, so we'll keep on board with Jared. Van der Bruges goes into 11th position, not too great for him, starting outside the top 10, as now here comes the Mercedes driver. He got a podium in Austria. Can he replicate that here at Belgium? Two similar tracks in the way that they're driven, very C will be the next one. Yeah, it's going to be definitely Big C, unless Hasnain is actually going to cross the line. I do tell a lie, it is Hasnain. He goes into 12th position, and now Big C, the last driver out on a lap. He's got the driest track available to him. If he hasn't put up in a time that is in the top 5, I don't know what I'll do with myself. So here he goes now up towards the start finish line. He's 9/10 off of Shelley at the moment. He goes into 2nd position, and he just can't get pole position. 800th in it. Shelley is on pole. And I'll run through qualifying, and then I'll go get a drink, because silly me, I forgot to do it again. It really is just... It just is how stuff goes, but here it is. Shelley on top, Big C in 2nd position, just by a couple hundredths off of him. Then Will put in his time quite a lot earlier than everyone else, so really wasn't an indicator of how quick he can go. Ollie D in 4th, 5th for Demon, Davidos, our championship leader, in 6th, 7th for Alex. So 3 championship rivals, all pretty close to each other on the circuit, so it's going to be interesting to see who will get the best start. Yaminator in 8th, 9th for Jared, Raymond rounds out the top 10, Berry in 11th, 12th for Hasnain, Van der Bruges in 13th, Carbon Fibre in 14th, and the 2 drivers that didn't put in the time, Boseman 15 and Jay Clarkey, who got disqualified for being parked in a bad location. Right, I'm quickly going to run downstairs, grab myself a drink, just so I don't choke throughout the stream, because I have been known to do that in Race Department. I commentate by myself, but I do quite enjoy it, and I do apologise if the internet quality connection quality is not currently sufficient to broadcast gameplay. It does tend to happen, so if there's any issues, just let me know, and I will probably check them out once we get fully into the race, just so if I know I have to restart the stream or not. Might actually just check it now. So la testing, keep going, la, just so I know that everything is kind of lined up right. I think it might be. If I 29 seconds, 27, 26, 25, 24, 23. Okay, yeah, it is all lined up. So I will go grab my drink, and I'll be back in just a minute. Yeah. Yes, I know. Yes, I have to go. I have to go. This is exactly what I expected to happen. Everything glitching out and not working. Codemasters, fix your stuff. I might have to do some Bahrain practice, because, you know, I did it last week when we had issues with the stream. Might as well just leave it now. So emotional. Oh God. If you could hear me saying I have to go, because my mum was trying to talk to me about a test I have tomorrow, and oh, right, well obviously this isn't going to be the ideal, so I think we're going to have a restart. Yeah, right, everyone's leaving. Getting a lobby restart. I'm just going to check it in the chat. And oh, I think the stream is fucking. Right, worst comes for worse. We do Bahrain practice until we get back in. I have to paste a link to everyone or to all my friends so you know that I'm live streaming Bahrain practice. Right, let's go. Let's get into it. Let's get right into the practice. Oh, I didn't need to do that. Oh well. Oh Jesus! Dun, 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 dun. Right, yeah, that's fine. Oh, I did Australia. Why? Oh my goodness. God, so sad. Turn my phone Wi-Fi back on. I didn't even know I had it on data. Oh, I've got an invite. Oh, no Bahrain practice for me today. That's alright. Let's get drinks. Have a nice little sip. Right. So now we're going to be loading back. I'm going to have to engage mode. What's it? Serious mode, that's it. Alright, we got it. Okay, so here we are, getting ready for the Belgian Grand Prix. Of course, we're back in the lobby. We've had some issues, but we are finally going to get underway. We just got to wait for Hasnain. Oh, sorry, it's Demon actually. Demon's the host. What if I just pick the Ferrari car? Oh, I can't. Bothman's in it. Right, I'll be Jared's teammate this week. Actually, I'll be... Go Clarky's teammate, yeah. Everything works out. Niceties. I'm getting new followers. It's getting late, I haven't seen my mate. Yeah, I'm listening to some Elton John. Come on, we just got to wait for Demon to finish up the grid. That's all we have to do. Don't really know what to talk about, so I'll just give my prediction. I think Will's going to win this race. I think Will is going to have a really good one. Looks like they are going to get ready to go because the drivers are beginning to ready up, so we'll probably be going soon. Wouldn't expect it to be too much longer until we race. Saturday, 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 Saturday. Jelly's loading still. Did you know that Lewis Hamilton has won 91 races out of 262? He's had 96 pole positions, 160 podiums. He's had 51 fastest laps, and he's led 158 races. That is quite something, and he's won at 27 different circuits. This was in a comparison to Michael Schumacher, and you see, people do compare Lewis Hamilton and Michael Schumacher as the two GOATs. They weren't really racing each other in their prime. Like Lewis Hamilton, you could say, oh, Lewis Hamilton beat him. Lewis Hamilton beat him when Michael Schumacher was in Mercedes. Like, Michael Schumacher was way past it. He was getting old. He wasn't that good anymore, unfortunately. If he were to race in the same machinery, say we put prime Lewis Hamilton, which is pretty much now, and you paired him with prime Schumacher, let's go 2002, because he got a podium in every race, arguably the most dominant car, but when we pass that, they'd probably be equal, but we really just can't rate them together. And it's the same with Ayrton Senna. Ayrton Senna and Lewis Hamilton didn't even race together. Schumacher and Senna hardly raced together. For me, the best driver of all time, just based on sheer dominance, is Jim Clark. In his era, he was absolutely insane, and it's so unfortunate that he died when he did. He could have been a multiple-time world champion. He was absolutely dominant. His Grand Chelem at Nürburgring was probably one of the most incredible wins ever. He was so incredible, that race. And yeah, he died in Monza in like 1966 or something. I can't remember. Obviously, I can't remember. I wasn't even born. My parents weren't even born. So that is quite something. I'm just waiting to go. I've gone through a whole Elton John song. Like, what is this? I get it takes a while to put the grid in, but speed it up. I'm joking. Saturday, 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 Saturday. You know the rules, so do I. What account am I on? I'm on my own account. Okay. Oh my word. Okay, so we got Alex just joining a bit late. That's probably why we had a massive delay. I bet that's because we had a delay and he was just saying, yeah, let me join. Ah! Now we're getting ready to go. Finally. Finally. Praise be to whoever you worship. And if you don't worship anyone, if you don't believe in religion or any god, that's okay. That's your choice. I'm just chilling at the moment. I'm just listening to some nice music. Gonna get my qualifying on, so that's gonna be me turning off my music and now getting into prime position. So you're gonna see a little bit of a mode change for me at the moment. And we are going to get ready for the Belgian Grand Prix, round number 10 of Race Department, round number 2 for this certain battle. 2 lobbies. We've had 4 lobbies in 2 races because we had to do this last week and have a massive delay, and it seems to be everyone leaving and joining throughout qualifying that really just screws with the lobby. So in future, I hope, I'm going to message Hasnain after this actually, but I think you need to tell people to stop, to just fix their internets. But yeah, fully clear for the entire race. We're going to see pretty much everyone going to be on the medium tyres for the start of the Grand Prix. Of course, going to run medium to soft, not as strong the Ultra as some other circuits. Like China or Bahrain, where you can do hard to medium or medium to hard, which is just an incredible strategy. It's got 23 more seconds and then we are finally gonna get ready for this race. What time is it? It is 37 minutes past 8. We should have been going about 15 minutes ago. we'd be on about lap 5 if everything went smoothly, but of course, it's F1 2020, isn't it? So, it is what it is, you know. Here we are, so we're getting ready for the formation lap. And if you've already forgotten, which I would have definitely as well, Shelley on pole position, Big C in second, Will is in third, then Ollie D in fourth, fifth for Demon, Davidos taking up 6th and 7th for Alex, Yaminator in 8th, 9th for Raymith, 10th for Barry, Hasnain in 12th, 13th for Sven de Bruges, Carbon Fiber in 14th, 15th Bozeman, then Clarkey, then Ayrton. You just saw the pit window pop up on your screen. And let's have a look at everyone's tyres. So a little bit of a differentiation. We've seen Yaminator, one of the drivers in the top 10. He's opted for the soft tyres. Everyone else, aside from Sven de Bruges and the man who's just joined the session, Alex, I'm gonna have to call him Alex too again, aren't I? Because of course Ferrari man Alex is he's in 7th at the moment, so, and of course they both have the same name, so I'll just call him NER Alex when I can. But meanwhile, he's on the soft tyres, so I expect for those guys to be rapid off the line, make up a couple of positions. I'm just gonna have a quick little swig of my drink. Okay. I'll have to turn this down. Okay. So yeah, Shelley just trying to get as much heat into the tyres as you can. At the medium tyre, you don't actually need as much heat for them to be at their operating window, so that's something to keep in mind. You don't really want to go too much on the weaving too excessively, because if you heat them up too much, you're just going to spin them too much. Spin the tyres on the start and then properly spin out. You have to be a lot more tentative on the throttle, whereas other drivers can pretty much not floor it obviously, but just go for it a little bit more. Of course, no assist, so none of these guys can go traction control and then just bomb it off the start, even though it does bog you down a little bit, because that's how traction control assist work. It just does what you're supposed to do for you. No, it's not how it works in normal cars. You never see them go 0 to 100. It has to be a little bit of a gradual change. So meanwhile, we're just filling out the grid. We got Big C and Shelley inside of each other. Hopefully we don't see that into turn number 1. But my name is V8 Field, and we are just about to get ready for the Belgian Grand Prix as Alex and Clarkey, the two Williams cars for this race, starting at the back. They are locked into position, and we will be going very soon. So the lights are now coming on. We got 4, we got 5 red lights, and it is go for the Belgian Grand Prix. Who's got the better start out of the leaders? It looks like Will has actually got a really good start now, pulling up to the inside of Big C, coming to turn number 1. It's been a dream start for Shelley, but here comes Will, the McLaren man, side by side for turn number 2, for position 2, and it looks like Will has got the move, coming up towards Eau Rouge, and Ollie D trying to have a little look. Meanwhile, they're all shuffling positions further back down the order. Alex losing the position to Yaminator, which is what you would normally see happen. Sven de Bruges had a really good getaway off the line, and now he's going to challenge against Alex, and just further up the grid, looks like we're seeing a nice little battle forming between Will and Shelley. Will's going to go around the outside of Shelley, and now Big C trying to slot in behind in this fight, trying to get ahead of Shelley in second position. Ollie D also trying to challenge, and Ollie D's actually going to go up the inside into Ravage. There's now a big lock up from the two of them. Could invite Davidos up the inside of his teammate, but now they're still going to run side by side, coming up towards No Name Corner. It is Big C losing the position to Ollie D. He's lost a couple spots off the line, not what he wants to see. Meanwhile, Yaminator trying to make a move around the outside of Puon on Demon. It was quite an audacious move, and he was not going to make that one work without putting up a massive fight. And unfortunately, he locks up, goes really deep on the breakthrough there, and Alex might try and take advantage of that, pick up the pieces of his mistake, but he can't make the move through there. Raymond getting a little bit holding up Jared just a little bit, and Sven de Bruges just trying to go up the inside of Jared, so they're all starting to get a little bit squirmy, but it has been an incredible start from Will up in front. He's got 4 tenths between him and Shelley. You can see the pit window coming up just once more. This is not going to apply for these guys, so around about lap 16 I would say is where we're going to see some of these guys come into the pits to take off their tyres. And there it is, Ollie D trying to make a switchback move on Shelley, and he's actually got a much better run through there. We got yellow flags through sector 3. I don't know who they're for, as now here comes Ollie D up the inside into turn number 1. He's got the position on Shelley. Actually, Shelley has defended that one well. I was actually got them a little bit mixed up. Do apologise for that, but they are still going to run side by side, coming sorry, not side by side, but just almost. They are nose to tail up Eau Rouge. Big commitment from Ollie D there. He's going to have to back off a little bit now. No DRS, that is just the game playing tricks on you. It thinks it's lap number 3. It is certainly not. We're only on lap number 2. Here comes Ollie D though, up towards Lake Common. He's not going to make a dive bomb move, and I don't know where anyone is, because of course the desync just has to happen. I really do love it. I don't even see the intervals. I think they're a little bit glitched, because of course they're going to be glitched. It's F1 2020. It is ridiculous, this game. So some fixes haven't been made since the beta test. Really does beg the question, do Codemasters really care about their game? Personally, I don't think they do. All the deltas seem to be a little bit yeah, they're all glitched. They're definitely not at those gaps. It says that Shelley and Ollie D are separate by nothing. They are completely equal. They are positive or negative. The game can't decide, but they are completely even. Carbon Fibre has lost the position to Jared, and I think Carbon Fibre is unfortunately been sent into a spin. Might have a little bit of wing damage. Seems like he's gotten away with it there, but unfortunately he's going to be sent to the back of the grid. And I think Van der Bruges has also gone off. So the AlphaTauri car not having a good day of it either, and Jared has had an incident somewhere as well. I think he might be. He's waited for. That is a true class act. He's waited for Carbon Fibre. Said, "Sorry, mate, I didn't mean to do that. I'm gonna let you go back through and take your position because I pretty much robbed you of it." Meanwhile, Clarkie's had a brilliant start up to 11th position. He's now just gotten by Berry. He's trying to make a switchback move. Can't unfortunately make the move for him there. Now Hasnain could be on the rear of the Racing Point, coming towards turn number 1. No one's really close enough to make an overtake work through there. And unfortunately for Ollie D, and also Van der Bruges comes into the pit lane. He retires early, so that is him out of this Grand Prix. I wouldn't expect Shelley to challenge Will in towards Les Combes, but you know, you never know. It could happen. Using the DRS, none of his overtakes, so yeah, just going to stick behind him. Meanwhile, here's Yaminator trying to go up the inside of Demon, and he has got the move. They're still going side by side now up through turn number 5, and oh, pretty bad through there. They almost made a huge amount of contact now towards turn number 8, and Demon has remained ahead of Yaminator on the soft tyres, so not going to be what Yaminator will want to see. And they're all scrapping it out further back down for more positions. Boastman has got a little bit of damage, I've just noticed. He's missing his front right end plate, so that's going to cause him some issues. You'll see he's probably going to lift off a little bit more than other drivers. And oh, there's a car in a spin, and that is NER Alex. He must have caught the curb, because that is how it normally goes. You just tap the curb and you are sent into a spin, and unfortunately he's going to come back onto the racing line, get onto the bumpy part of the circuit. They don't smooth that out, and he could have spun the car if he just went completely flat out. Happened to me before. I think it's happened to a lot of people. Meanwhile though, Big C right on the back of Ollie D here, now coming up towards the bus stop chicane. Is he going to send it into the braking zone? We're on board. We've just gone into an off-board shot of the Renault car. He's not close enough to make the overtake through here, but now opening the DRS, and Shelley's actually lost quite a lot of ground to Will, who's setting the fastest lap of the race, so really is a detriment to his pace. He is on top of it today, and Ollie D, given the slipstream by Shelley, has actually nullified any overtaking opportunity that Big C might have had. But if Big C just bides his time, Ollie D could go for a move on Shelley, who's now actually pulled away from him a little bit. Boastman comes into the pit lane, must be to fix that damage that he's got. No real fights going on the circuit at the moment. We could see an overtake for 8th position though between sorry, not NER Alex, just Raymith and Alex, and Alex not even going to try and fight that one, as now ahead goes Raymith into 8th place, and Yaminator still trying to fight Demon. Oh, he gets onto the curb just through turn number 5, now through turn number 7. I probably missed one corner name out there. Jared finally does get ahead of Carbon Fibre after they had their little run in earlier on in the Grand Prix, where Jared waited up and let Carbon Fibre go by. A true class act from him. He probably admits it's his fault. And mistakes do happen, and oh, Shelley's out. Shelley's out. Where's he lost that? I think that is the exact position that Giovinazzi lost it. He's a little bit further down than I would have expected. You can just kind of see his car peeled off to the side. That is his race over. Virtual safety car comes out, puts Big C onto the podium. He'll not be happy with that one, and now Haas are going to lose out even more in the constructors fight. I didn't read out the constructors standings, but I don't really have time to anymore. Now it's all going to be about the restart for Alex here, because Alex is right behind Rabbit. If he gets a better restart than the Red Bull car, he could completely pounce onto him and attack him through the corner. He's actually tried going for it. I think Raymith was way over his delta, and he almost brake checked Alex there. Good reaction time from Alex. And now Ollie D's going to be on the back foot a little bit here because of Shelley losing the car. He's actually lost DRS because he's not close enough to Will. So Big C could put some pressure onto him, but even he has dropped some time to Ollie D. Might not have the DRS here, and he hasn't. He's missed out. Oh god. Here it all starts. I don't think that's the best drink to have on hand. Right, back to the race. Everyone is just kind of spread out. It's a bit of a boring race beginning to form. I don't like saying that, but it can happen. Alex gets the move on carbon fibre. Obviously not that boring for the guys further back down. Unfortunately, carbon fibre losing another position, and that is going to be not helpful for him, because now he's lost another place, and he's yet to pit still. Boastman is going to be catching him. He pitted just a couple of laps earlier. I think he pitted like just a lap before this one. However though, Yaminator has kicked it up again. He is beginning to catch and track down CRG Demon. Those soft tyres are still going to be quicker than the medium tyres currently on the car of Demon, but he's actually got a much worse run through Blanchimont. Has Yaminator. He's just nipped himself back into the DRS range, so he has got the use of it, of the drag reduction system. If you didn't know what it's called, I will read out your comment in just a moment, whoever that is. As Big C sets the fastest lap of the race, he is beginning to push in that Renault car as well. He didn't get DRS last time out on Ollie D, of course. But this time he might just have the system to be used to his advantage. I'm kind of fumbling my words a little bit, but that does seem to happen, and Ollie D is actually beginning to track down Will a little bit. So once all these guys kind of concertina up on track together, because that Big C going to gain about 3/10 on that straight alone, make that 4. As Boastman knocks in the fastest lap of the Grand Prix. Clarkey getting by Alex for 8th position. I'll show that battle unfolding at the moment. It seems like Alex just going to let him go through there. But yeah, Big C has gained on Ollie D quite a lot here. Through the second sector of the circuit so far, seems like Ollie is a little bit slower than Will. I think that's where Will is supreme, probably something to do with the setup. But through the fast parts of the circuit, through high speeds, seems like Ollie D has got the quicker car. We might see him drop closer, the time dropping a little more. I think Ollie D might begin to struggle at the moment. He might be feeling the pressure of Big C coming up behind him, because only 5/10 of the gap, and from the, it's called the Camel Straight, that is going to be one of the quickest places, and you probably, sorry, I think it's one of the longest straights on the calendar, the whole Camel Straight. Definitely you can be a little bit further back to make a move work, and 4/10 is certainly enough. Up towards turn number 1, if I were Big C, I'd back off. I wouldn't try and send a move up the inside into turn number 1, because you just get the advantage given to your rival. And here he goes now. And yeah, you see he's not pushing hard enough to get close enough here, and I actually think Ollie D may have invested some of his ERS just to stay ahead, a little bit more of a gap. Ollie D still hasn't got DRS on Will up ahead, even though we can pretty much just see the McLaren car getting bigger and bigger every time he catches up. So advantage going to be to Big C here. No DRS for Ollie D. What can Big C do? And he's a little bit too far back, I think. I think Ollie D might have used some of his overtake to just build a slight gap on Big C so that he can't make the move into the Lake Combe chicane. Very nice move from Ollie there, so just covering off any advantage that he might have had. There's another fight brewing between championship rivals at the moment. There's 13 points separating these two. Big lock-up coming from both of them. That is pretty common around at Rivage. It's a downhill corner, so yeah, you're just going to lock up. Sometimes you just have to deal with that. As these tyres are getting older and older, more wear being put onto them, they're going to be sliding a little bit more, making a couple more mistakes. They've definitely got heat into them as well. At this point in time, I'd say the mediums and the softs are going to be around about equal. Yamanata's probably going to have to pit. I would say maybe next lap. Definitely don't think this lap. He'd probably go 1 or 2 more laps. Actually, he's going to come into the pits. Meanwhile, though, Big C just trying to track down Ollie D, and he's lost quite a bit of time on this lap. And that is partially due to Ollie D investing some of his ERS on the straight up towards Radion, so he couldn't get close enough, Big C, to the it's a Racing Point car, and yeah, he's just not close enough to make any moves. Ollie's keeping just at a social distance, 6/10 away. That's 6 feet. So I guess you could say, obviously it's not 6 feet. It's quite a little bit more. It's about 6/10 of a second, sorry, between the two of them. So if Ollie were to stop at this moment, it would take half a second for Big C to get past him, which is absolutely ridiculous. But here, coming down the Camel Straight, you can just see he's not close enough. Oh dear. I began shaking my leg. I put my controller down just for a moment so I could shake my leg, and I actually pressed all the buttons, so I won't do that. However, though, we're on board with the Renault car. We'll see how he takes this corner. So he's going to put it in second gear, short shift it up to 30, get as much traction underneath him as possible, and then lift it off through No Name. And he's actually lost quite a little bit of time to Ollie D. He's losing it through the second sector, I think. Gains it all with DRS, but then Ollie D is a lot more consistent in the low speed corners. I don't know how to really put it. Of course, Ollie D not a part of a team anymore. He formerly was a part of Veloce. Big C is he's the manager of the F1 team of BDG, which has got some of the biggest names in F1. You know, you got Louis, the pad merchant. Of course, he is a line merchant as well, so yeah, it doesn't really correlate. You got Fabi as well, really talented driver. I'm trying to think of others. Midnight is one of the youngest and most prospectful drivers, so he has got access to all of these guys' setups, all of their brilliant minds working together. And look at how much deeper he goes onto the brakes. He's a lot closer this time by to Ollie D, so he could maybe try and make a move if he wants into turn number 1. I don't think he will, because I think Ollie D's used up just a tad a little bit more of ERS. So now coming up towards Radion, this is going to be Big C's best overtaking opportunity. He has to commit now, and he's going to have to knock it down to medium just so he can go up Eau Rouge without spinning. But this is going to be the opportunity for him now. He's right on the tail of Ollie D. We're going to go on board with the Renault car, and now he tucks and centering, pulls out to the left hand side, and Ollie D defends to the inside line. Coming up towards Lake Combe, Big C is going to be the last of the late breakers. He's going to go around the outside. He's got the inside line for the next corner. Brilliant move from Connor there. Ollie D has to recuperate and get back past him. He has to fight back, and they are just reading in will at a steady pace. All of these guys seemingly a little bit even on the ERS, so none of these guys pushing necessarily harder than the other. Meanwhile, though, there's also a little bit of a scrap going on for 6th position. Raymith beginning to take advantage of the deteriorating tyres of Yamanata, and you can see the difference in grip that they have at this moment in time. Yamanata really beginning to struggle. I think either this lap or next lap is when the Alfa Romeo car is going to come in for the medium tyres. He'll be slower than everyone else once they come in for the softs, but at least he's going to have a big undercut on them. Probably will come out close to the lead. Whether he maintains that is really going to be the question on everyone's mind. You could probably do this around Monaco, because around Monaco it's so difficult to overtake. So you could probably, the strategy is not too difficult around there. What about Raymer through this corner? Can he go up the inside into the bus stop? How about the outside line? There goes Raymith. He moves the left hand side, and the Yamanata is going to come into the pits. That kind of kills the overtaking vibe that we got there. Look at this. Demon could make an identical move on Big C's teammate Davidos at the moment. Pretty similar levels of ERS. We won't go on board with the Haas car because I don't like the way the Ferrari sounds. So there we go. And right on the run up towards Eau Rouge, and now up the hill, up Radion, of course, turn number 3. The Haas car of Demon right on the back of Davidos. He pulls to the left hand side of Davidos and he cannot defend at all. So he's just going to tuck back into the slipstream, get right back behind Demon, and Demon moves into 4th position. There's quite a bit of a distance between 4th place and 3rd place at the moment, as they're all flying through here on lap number 10. We're coming up to the halfway point of the race, and I much prefer long tracks, short number of laps, because they just feel like they go quicker. You know, sometimes when you're on a really long race, it is just so boring. You know, if you're doing Monaco, for example, it's just too long. Do you not agree? Like, you're on lap 10, okay? It's not been that long into the Grand Prix. You still got 20 laps to go. Not even that. You've pretty much got 30 laps to go when you're on lap number 10. Ugh. It's just too much. I will read out the comment in the stream because why not? It's a nice thing to do. T3. Oh dear. Unlucky Shelley. So he said T300 disconnected on turning resulted in a massive shunt. Oh dear. Whilst I was going on my run, I didn't know if anyone actually made an overtake. I'd hope not, because then I'd look pretty silly. Demon using a lot of his overtake on the exit. So that means he's not going to be close enough, Davidos is, to Demon. So coming up towards Eau Rouge and up Radion, here they fly. Demon, he's just not close enough, is he? He can't get close enough to the back of Demon to challenge into Les Combes. He's going to close up by about 3/10 on the straight just by tucking into the slipstream of him. And I think Carbon Fibre and Boatman having a titanic battle as well, as Boatman gets ahead in through turn number 1. Not a place you'd normally see an overtake. You'd normally see a lot of guys try and wait a little bit longer just to make a pass in a better part of the circuit where someone else can't come back at you. But we'll go board with the leader flying through Pouon. He's just driven really consistently so far. He's not dropped to Big C all that much. Ollie D beginning to drop back from the Renault car. So now he's outside the DRS, and that's going to really alleviate Big C of the pressures that he has from Ollie D behind. Of course, going to build on that confidence that he got from winning the race last week. It could have been in the palm of Will's hand. He seemed to be really consistent in the wet weather. It's probably due to the fact that he's a karter and he karts in England, so he's probably used to the wet. Just it is in his nature, I guess. But yeah, he could have had the win. He was so dominant in the wet that when it shifted to the dry, it just did not work for him at all. He tried making an early stop, going on to another set of intermediates, catch up to everyone else, and then once they come into for the softs, it just didn't work out for him. He was a little bit further behind. He did make some overtakes, I believe, but it was just not enough, and he didn't win the race. Ollie D was the one to take it in the end, but Will was catching at a rate of knots, so it really does show his pace that he's found so far this season. 6/10 of the gap, now just dropping underneath 5. I wouldn't expect Big C to push too hard to get ahead of Will here. But you can see he's going to close up on the run up towards Les Combes. He can go a little bit later on the brakes as well than Will, and he has actually lost quite a bit of time. He's lost that advantage that he got, and Will's just had a monstrous Les Combes chicane, and now a big lock up from Big C there. That's quite ironic there. I think Yaminator and Jared might be having a little scrap, and I've just kind of messed up everything there, but Yaminator moves into 10th position at the moment. Of course, all the guys ahead of him yet to come into the pits, so he'll have a nice big buffer. He might be almost in the lead. I have to slap myself. Go on, wake up. Right, okay. So we're going to follow on with this battle as it continues. Big C has just been reeling in Will ever so slightly each and every lap. He's now just under 6 tenths behind. He did have DRS for the last straight, but he wasn't able to capitalise. He wasn't able to get close enough to Will to actually mount a challenge. This could be where it will change. He just needs a really good run through the bus stop chicane to get even closer to Will. He probably won't challenge into turn number 1, and there it is, an early pit stop. I say that is quite an early stop from Big C. He could probably go a lot longer into the race and have much fresher tyres towards the end, but he can do what he wants. He can probably run about 10 laps. It will be a push to go to the end, and an undercut strategy also will probably work pretty well around here. So why not gamble? I guess if you want the win, it's a win or nothing for Big C, I guess, at this point. And now Ollie's not going to have the DRS on Will because he's just not close enough. So meanwhile, we'll go back onto the board. I'm back on board with the fight between Davidos and Demon, and Davidos trying to get by from pretty far back. He has caught up to Demon by quite a lot, but Raymith has also entered the fray. So has Clarky, who's had a brilliant race so far, coming up from 17th on the grid, now into 6th. Of course, he has to pit still, so he's going to have a couple of guys jump him once he comes in, but he's done sublimely today, so really well done to Clarky for this one so far. Meanwhile, Raymith is actually closer to Davidos, and Davidos is the Demon. So Raymith's just really come alive in the latter stage of this stint. He actually did display this last week as well, so he's doing really good job for himself. What can he do from 5th position, 4 tenths back? Won't be able to make an overtake with the DRS, but Demon is actually beginning to pull away from Davidos a little bit, and he might actually just get ahead of the 1 second window that he needs. I think Demon is actually coming into the pits this lap, and that's why he's pushing so hard. You do tend to see these guys do this because you make it all back once you come into the pit, so why not use it all on your in lap, and then when you're going slowly, why not come in? There goes Will into the pits, Ollie D as well, and Demon as well, and Davidos and Raymith. So they're all coming in around at the same point. I would have expected them to go a little bit longer into this stint, but now it's up to Big C. Where is he going to come out and everyone else? Of course, the pit lane is a little bit shorter because you actually skip out the entirety of turn number 1. So whilst Big C might jump into the lead, don't expect him to be too much further ahead, because now coming through turn number 1, Will is going to come out on circuit, and they're going to be almost side by side, but it is the undercut that has worked out for for BDG Big C. He comes out in the lead. Will is going to be right behind him, probably want to make the most of his fresher tyres, going to have to generate a little bit of heat into them, but he's not going to care, because now on board with the McLaren car, you can see him. Look at the difference in speed. Bit of a late move to the inside for Big C there, but Will has made it stick, and he gets back into the lead of the Grand Prix. Now with fresher tyres, he can mount a challenge, and Yaminator comes out in 5th, so he's come out ahead of Demon, and Davidos trying to make a send in through Lake Common. They're still going to run side by side. Davidos has the inside line for the next corner. The championship rivals going side by side, and now Raymond's trying to make it 3, coming in through Ravage. It's actually Raymond to benefit the most, now trying to challenge against Davidos into turn number 8 and up towards turn number 1. Davidos defends well from Raymond, and Jared's just behind in this fray as well, so it is all kicking off at this moment in time. But meanwhile, though, it has been the perfect restart for perfect pit stop for Big C. He's right up to the rear of Will. He did have the gap, but of course with the overpowered DRS on the straight and overtake combination, it was a pretty much guaranteed overtake for Will. Meanwhile, though, Ollie D has dropped rapidly from this train. Once Berry comes into the pits, I would assume that Yambinator will be in a lot of trouble, because 2 tenths is the gap at the moment. 2 tenths is also the gap at the moment between Demon and Demon. Sorry, I'm fumbling my words. And if these guys, they might go 3 wide on the straight, and I will absolutely lose my voice. So now coming up towards turn number 1, what is Demon going to opt for? Is he going to opt to stay behind and then try and run through Lecom? He is going to make that option, and they're all going to run single file, and this could be one of the best moves in league racing history if we can see them all go 3 abreast up the straight. And here we go, up over Rouge and through Radion now. Davidos is going to be the one to try and catch Demon. Demon's going to be the one to try and catch Yaminator. Here comes Demon to the outside of Yaminator, and Raymith is actually going to go to the inside, and he can't make the move stick. So unfortunately we didn't see what I was hoping for, which would have been a bit of a Schumacher Hakkinen moment from when that was probably one of the best overtakes in history. But here goes Raymith. He's still right onto the back of Davidos. He is rapid at this moment in time. Demon's going to be able to cruise away from Yaminator. All these guys are going to be so much quicker on the fresh, soft tyres, so that Yaminator will be struggling the most out of anyone at this moment in time for tyres. Granted, they're not that old. As the race goes on, they will be quicker, I would say. So, can't fall asleep. Cannot fall asleep. It's bad to fall asleep, because if you fall asleep, you can't commentate over Race Department Season 13, round number 10, Belgian Grand Prix. What will Davidos opt to do for here? I think he just wants to get the move on Yaminator as soon as possible. So, coming through Blanchimont now, of course, this really long section of the track, completely flat out through here, into one of the heaviest braking zones on the circuit. I don't think he'd dive it. Is he going to dive? He goes into the back of him. There's a little bit of contact from wing to a wing, and he doesn't get the move. What about Raymith though? He's right on the back, and if he does send it, he'll have DRS on Yaminator. As now into turn number 1, he's not going to opt for the overtake really deep on the brake for Clarkey. He's going to lose a little bit of time out of that one, but now it is going to be up to Davidos to make the overtake on Yaminator, and we could see what I was hoping for before. Maybe, just maybe, we can see it as now up over Rouge they come, and now the DRS will be activated. Now here comes Davidos. Where's Yaminator going to position his car? He's going to position himself to the inside line. Where's Davidos going to go? Davidos has to look to the outside line, and now coming in through a late com, Yaminator's fought that a lot harder than he did with Demon. And where's Raymith and all of this? He wants to get by as soon as possible, surely, on Yaminator. So now trying to use his overtake in an unconventional place, trying to maybe look up the inside in through Ravage. He's got a look in there, and now he's trying to run side by side on exit. He just can't find the gap. He can't find an avenue through. So now in through Pouon. Don't tell me he's going to make a move up the inside in through the fast right-hander. He's got the move. Sorry, it's the left-hander, and he still made it work. As that's Yaminator off the circuit. He's out the race, and he's just lost the car. God, so unfortunate for him. We might see a safety car for that, and a safety car has come out on lap number 16. What will the drivers opt for? I wouldn't expect them to come into the pit spot. I'm so unfortunate for Yaminator. He sees himself retiring from the Grand Prix on lap number 16. When he had the undercut, he was in a good position to score some points, but unfortunately that is just the way that the cookie crumbles, and now he has to recuperate and get stronger for Monza next week. But that is Pouon. Two victims claimed by that fast left-hander. Raymith forced the move. Not his fault, I would say, but it is just how stuff kind of happens sometimes. It's out of everyone's control, and yeah, it's just really unfortunate. So again, it just has to recuperate, get back, come stronger next week. But we are under safety car conditions. Alex is going to come into the pits. That's something I'm a little bit surprised about. I wouldn't have pitted. There's not going to be much difference in 2 laps than 1 lap old tyres, or no lap old tyres, I guess is the right way to say it. But you know, whatever floats his boat might work out in the long run, might not. Just gotta rehydrate myself, because yeah, a lot of talking today. I had a couple of tests, which was scary, but you know, it was fine. I have a business exam tomorrow. I have prepared well for it. I know my content. Yeah. I don't like my teacher all that much. I shouldn't say this on stream. Okay, moving on. So, lap number 17. Will from Big C from Ollie D. Then Demon in 4th. 5th for Davidos. Raymith taking up 6th. 7th for Clarkey. 8th for Barry. 9th for Alex. Jared in 10th. 11th for Hasnain. 12th for Boseman. And then Alex in 13th. 14th for Carbon Fiber. After his early spin. We might see these guys go a little bit longer under the safety car. maybe one more lap, I would say. Of course, it is a mandatory 2 laps. We haven't even done 1 lap, so we've got to do this lap and at least the next. But I think we might do 1 extra, just because Carbon 5 was quite a ways behind. Just got to sip my water. It is. Oh, I almost spilled it there. That would have been not good. But we move. So yeah, safety car is going to be out for at least 1 more lap. Carbon Fiber can probably go as slow as possible if he wants to do 1 more lap on the safety car. Don't know why he would, because that's just less opportunities to overtake at. But he could definitely get a point in this race. So I expect him to be in a pretty good position by the end of it. We'll just have to see once everything gets underway. Dun-dun-dun. Dun-dun-dun-dun. Don't really know what to talk about at this moment in time, but I guess I could just gloat at the fact, and my prediction is coming true at the moment. Will is currently winning this race, and I said that he would win the race. But I think my driver of the day is actually going to go into Big Z at the moment, because Connor had fallen down the order at the start. He managed to claw his way back up the grid, and he also made an undercut strategy that brought him way closer to Will. And it's just been a really good race from him overall. But Will has definitely done really well today. Could take his 2nd win of the season and cement himself maybe as a late title contender. I wish the real F1 season was exciting as this one. The championship leader down in 5th, you know, that's unheard of. You know, normally it's Lewis Hamilton just romping away with the race. Safety car comes out no issue. That Mercedes is way quicker than the field, so he can just blitz away at the start and win the race easily. Of course, it is not all down to the Mercedes car being dominant. People say if you put Max Verstappen in the same car, then he would beat Lewis Hamilton, no problem. Yeah. Shut up. Just shut up, please. You know, Max Verstappen, he could beat Bottas. Definitely, Bottas is quite rubbish. But Lewis Hamilton, I don't think people realise how good Lewis Hamilton is. You know, even when that Mercedes car wasn't that dominant, he still prevailed. Like 2017, arguably that Ferrari was the same pace as the Mercedes, certainly through the European section of the calendar as well, but the Ferrari car still didn't win. Well, what about 2018 as well? Sebastian Vettel, he was really quick at the start. He got 2 wins in a row. He was pretty much one of the fastest guys on the grid. And then, of course, he did end up melting in the end, so that is just how it works. But Lewis Hamilton is not going to get beaten by Max Verstappen in the same machinery. But more about real life F1, less about real life F1. Let's get back into race department, as Will is going to take the restart here. Leads off the grid, coming out of the bus stop chicane now to take the restart. Who's got the better exit coming into the straight? It's been a really top-notch restart from Will. Of course, no DRS for 2 laps under green, but who is going to make a move coming through turn number 1? I wouldn't be surprised if we didn't see too many dive bomb overtakes. There is Alex trying to get by Berry. Fresh tyres for Alex, fresher tyres I'd say, and that is the move made for Alex. But meanwhile, Uppo Rouge, Ollie D right onto the rear of Big C. This move was being made earlier on in the race, and here comes Ollie D to the outside of Big C now, down the straightaway and up towards Lecom. Big C's going to fight this hard, shove him off wide, and he's maintained the position. So good defensive driving from him there. But meanwhile, Raymond trying to fight Davidos. They are continuing this scrap that they've had earlier. Raymond having to go wide. Davidos just moving down a little bit, and there could be a little bit of contact, maybe a little bit of a love tap, and the Raymond, left out to dry on the outside, but he's still going to go for the overtake. They're running side by side for the most of this middle sector. I think Raymond has also been one of the most active drivers this Grand Prix. He's been incredible. Meanwhile, Clark, he's trying to go around the outside. What a save from Raymond. He got a little bit squeezed to the inside, a little bit of understeer into the tyre, into the left rear tyre, and they're 3 wide behind. Come on, boys. I know you want to get as many positions as you can, but let's keep it a little bit civil. As now, Boseman trying to go around the outside of Jared through Stabilo now, and he has got the move. Boseman has on Jared. What a move from the Englishman there, moving up into the points. But meanwhile, yeah, it's been a good restart from Clarkey, moving further up the order, and Raymond don't go for an overtake here. He's almost gone right into the back of him. He pretty much timed his brakes perfectly. They're going really deep, but he just didn't go back into the back of him. So really go driven from him there, as now coming up towards turn number 1. Will he send it? I wouldn't expect him to. Yeah, these guys are not your typical league racers. These are some of the most experienced guys in league racing history on the PlayStation platform. If you were league racing in 2017, chances are you'd recognise a whole bunch of these names, because they have been around for a really, really long time. But meanwhile, though, Will just rumping away with it at the moment. 1.5 seconds is the gap between Big C and Will, so nailing the restart was all he needed to do, and it just worked out for him perfectly. Dowlers has lost quite a little bit of valuable time to Jay Clarkey down the Kemmel Straight. That was to be expected. Meanwhile, though, Boseman trying to make a move on Berry. Fresher tyres on the Ferrari car, and he's just trying to hang it up the inside. He's got the outside line for the next corner, so he's going to have to brake a little bit later. He's going to be a little bit more committed than Berry, and he has moved into 9th place. So now his teammate lies up ahead, of course, not actual teammates. Of course, there is another Ferrari driver, I believe Keaton, if I'm not mistaken. But Boseman, getting onto the curbs there, almost sent him into a little bit of a spin. Luckily, he has saved the car. DRS will be enabled next lap, I think. I don't think there's DRS this lap, otherwise we would have seen more overtakes. But next lap, we'll see the DRS being enabled. And Will has actually lost quite a little bit of time to Big C, and Big C has found himself now in with a DRS overtaking opportunity. Of course, he's not close enough to make an overtake, but he will have DRSs. It will get enabled this lap. Oddities just dropped back from Big C as well, so he can't use use it to its full advantage once it does become enabled. And I think it has become enabled, but it hasn't popped up on the screen, so I might be wrong there, unless my eye's playing tricks on me and we already have DRS enabled. Nevertheless, we'll have to see on the straight, because the detection point is up now. I think they just cross it through Eau Rouge, and yeah, Big C has got DRS on Will. He's definitely not close enough to file an overtake. What about Raymond, though? He's right on the rear of Clarkey, but of course Clarkey's going to have DRS on Davidos, so he just can't find an opening. But those guys are going to all concertina up into the same part of the track. Hasnain and Alex, NER Alex, having a little bit of a scrap at the moment, so we'll follow along with those two. I think Hasnain made an easy move, and I've just pressed the volume button on that scared me for a minute. I didn't know where my remote was. Meanwhile, the Raymond right onto the rear of who's that? It's Clarkey. Sometimes I do forget, but it is what it is. I forget a lot of things. I'm a very forgetful person when it comes to simple things, but then school stuff I tend to remember. Don't know. I bet if I applied myself a little bit more, I'd be better, but it's fine. Right, let's go back into the race though, because Ollie Lee has found a lot of time on Big C. They're coming on to the final lap of the Grand Prix, this time by Will. Has just got to put one more consistent lap in to win the Grand Prix, but I think it's going to be the fight for second place is going to be the one to watch, because now coming into the bus stop chicane, Ollie Lee is only 2 tenths back from Big C. And now opening the DRS, he is right on the tail of the Renault car, of course. An early championship contender. He kind of dropped out at this point. Oh no, I've pressed the wrong button, and we haven't seen any overtake through there. I've got no viewers at the moment. Hang on. Huh? Oh dear. Oh, right, it was just a little bit of a technical glitch. I thought I had no viewers, but all is well. As now up the long Eau Rouge, up Radion for the final time of the race. It's just popped up safety car in this lap. Right, I don't think the safety car's coming in this lap. We've been racing for a good couple of laps, and Ollie Lee just can't find a way by. But what about Jay Clarkey sending it to the outside of Davidos? He's got the inside line for the next corner, as here he goes. He's made the move stick on the pole man, of course. The championship leader as well will be in a little bit of jeopardy if Raymond gets by him as well, which could be very likely. He's looked very racy, has the Red Bull car so far this race. He's a little bit inconsistent with his pace. Meanwhile, Boseman has caught up to his teammate, and now he's looking to challenge for an 8th position. Of course, penalties can change anything. I would expect a lot of these guys, due to them being so experienced, they know their ways around the circuit and where they can and cannot extend. So I think that they'll probably be alright with that, with the penalty front at least. But I definitely have seen some penalties pop up throughout the race. I think I got to give my dear. There's too many drivers that I can select for drive that day, so you know what, I'm not going to pick any, but we'll follow along with Will as he begins his final couple of corners. Raymond has found a way past Davidos, but it is this man, PR1 Will Murdoch, to cross the finish line. He wins in Spa. And what about Big C? He can't find a way past all the top four stay where they were, and actually Alex manages to jump up into 6th, Davidos down to 7th, 8th for Berry, 9th for Jared, and Raymond jumping all the way down into 10th. So unfortunate from him. And then I'll get the rest, of course, coming up very soon. Very sorry. Just happens, doesn't it? When you're talking for so long, you get a bit lost. Right, there it is. P1 Will to the top of the podium. We won't watch the podium celebration because it gets a little bit long. So, here is the full rundown of the grid. And we'll just have the last couple of guys. Hasnain in 11th, 12th for Boastman, 13th for Compiler, NER Alex in 14th, and 3 retirements from this race were Yamanator, Shelley, and Van der Bruges. I have to go eat my dinner now, but it's been very nice commentating over this race. Do apologise with the technical issues earlier, but you know, you just got to live with them. So I have been V8 Field. Have a good day, everyone. Make sure you stay safe, of course. In all this COVID pandemic stuff, make sure you follow your COVID guidelines that have been put in for your local area or your country, and stay safe, everyone. So that is the end from me. I'll see you next week for the Italian Grand Prix. Peace.